This podcast is brought to you by Covenant Eyes. The internet can be a dangerous place for unguarded eyes and hearts. Covenant Eyes provides the services that protect against the evils and temptations that can be found on the World Wide Web. Visit wadoradio.com/resources for more information about our affiliate, Covenant Eyes.
Everybody lends an ear. I want to thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all.
Of course, man, DJ Wado, the Wado Radio Show. We are here with the big homie Alex Faith, man. Collision Records, We Live as Kings. New album, ATLast, is dropping November 5th. Alex, what's up, brother?
What's up with it, man? I am chilling.
I gotta ask you this off top, man, and I think I asked you this on Twitter, but now that you're no longer living in Atlanta, you still got your record's called ATLast, man. Just let's talk about the concept, and obviously the ATL has meant a lot to you just as a person, man. But let's just talk about how that whole thing has evolved, man.
Well, I mean, obviously, so I've been out of Atlanta for about 5 months, but, you know, spent 23 years of my life there.
Yeah.
You know, was born there, raised there.
Yeah.
And even, to be honest with you, man, like I've been back probably 10 times in the
Wow.
5 months that I've been here. So it's still very much home. It's still very much, you know, just it's Atlanta, dog. It's just close to me. So the title's kind of twofold. There was the one half that wanted to be clever. You know, ATLians is a Southern classic album from ATLast. And
yep.
so we had the play on words at last, because the original, man, me and Adam Thomason had bounced back, Free at Last, all these different like titles, and then you kind of put the two words together is kind of the idea that I was like, man, I think this is dope. Let's run with it, you know. So kind of paying homage to the city, and then also because I feel like the album does reflect that Atlanta has been a big part of my life and has kind of shaped me musically and culturally. But then At Last kind of gives this vibe. So like the Free at Last idea, but then just At Last in general just gives this vibe of like an arrival. It's like you finally got to something, you know. People go, at last, I made it, you know. And so the place that I wanted people to arrive with the album was a place that clearly said that Jesus was better than all things.
It's good. It's good. One of the records that we've spun a lot on the show is Everywhere, you know, and that was, I would probably say that's when it really hit me, you know, and I started putting it together with obviously you coming out with this album, just how much this city really meant to you, man. How tough was it for you to move, bro?
I mean, dog, I sold my house. My wife quit her job. You know, I spent a lot of money moving. So, you know, just for the music opportunities that were out here for me, you know, we just felt like it was worth it. So in the long run, the move has been worth it. I don't feel like I could have made the same album that I just made.
Wow.
if I had all of the same influence and I, you know, wasn't away from everybody. So I feel like I did need to get away. It's a high price to pay just to make an album, but I think in the long run it was pretty, you know, well worth it.
Yeah. Do you see yourself staying in Dallas, or you think you're gonna move back to Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm definitely going back home. I mean, without a question. It's just a matter of when.
I feel that. Man, let's talk about the music, bro. I was listening to the stream yesterday, and I got to be honest with you, bro. I was really impressed with your project, dude.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Really, man. I feel like it hasn't really been that much time, like maybe like a little over a year, I guess, since the mixtape From Now, but it just seems like you've just grown so much more as an artist. Like, were you holding back a little bit back then, or like what do you think kind of helped, you know, man, that process, man?
So yes, absolutely. But then on the top of that, no. I think better than anyone that I was rapping, good 5 years ago and kind of quit and just stopped. And so Honest to God was that was the first music that I had done in like 4 years, literally, you know what I mean? Like I hadn't been recording nothing. So I had rapped and I never felt like I was whack, but Honest to God kind of took me to a different place where I actually had what people would call fans. And so for me, I'm still getting used to the whole people being interested in listening to the things that you have to say. And so Honest to God put me on a place where people were like, he's got some stuff to say. But Honest to God was written on the heels of me losing a child. It was also, I had quit working a regular job and got signed by Collision. And so there was a lot of that was kind of like dark days figuring out what I'm finna do.
Yeah.
Still mourning. And me and my wife was going through all kinds of craziness because neither one of us really knew how to cope with, loss of life together. So Honest to God is kind of dark. Right now, one of the things I'm hearing about people with the album is they're like, man, I felt like Honest to God was better. I feel like ATLast is too bouncy. And I'm like, dog, I made that joint because I was not happy. So ATLast is happier. But on some levels, man, you just quit caring and just do what you want to do. And that's what I did with the album. Me and Swoop had a conversation because everybody calls Wake Up a classic. Everybody's calling We Live as Kings and Gold Rush classics and instant classics and all this stuff. Just the caliber of music Collision does. And I was like, man, I need to make a classic. I got to figure out how to do this. And then I was like, no, I'm just going to do whatever I feel like. And if people like it, they going to like it. So that's pretty much just what I felt like doing, man.
Do you, one of the things that you kind of alluded to it right there, but you're on this label with all these amazing artists. It's obviously Swoop, it's Dre, Chris. Do you feel like the pressure to try to either be like them or kind of carve out your own niche? Because it's almost like, Chris does the rapping and singing thing, so he's kind of got that. Dre's the lyricist. Obviously Swoop was the first one to come out. Do you feel like, man, where do I even fit in with this whole collective in terms of just you kind of even creating your own lane and niche with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I do. That mug it's intimidating sometimes to be on songs with them. I've said that before. They hate that I say that, but it is what it is. I don't rap like those guys.
Yeah.
At all. That's the funny thing is everybody expects me to have this mad lyrical album, or not even just mad lyrical, but just incredibly eclectically artistic. But one of the things that I've had to keep telling myself is I'm like, dog, and I don't know. I'm not from the Midwest. I wish I was. I'm only 23, so at the peak of my musical listening teenage years, my favorite rappers were, Little John and the East Side Boys, Yin Yang Twins, and Field Mob, and all these different kind of groups like that. People hate crunk music, but where I'm from, they was Pac and Biggie to us. And so, purists are probably, going crazy right now because I just said that. But for us, man, that's all we knew. I didn't listen to a Jay-Z album until I was over 20 years old, because I didn't like that dude. I thought he was whack. I have a healthy respect and appreciation for all of those guys, and I think that's what kind of helps me to be a better Southern rapper, is that my influences have kind of broadened. Because outside of ATLast and Killer Mike and those kind of dudes that run in that circle, the South is not known for its lyricism. You know what I mean? It's just not. It's known for its beats. It's known for its attitude. And so that's just kind of what, that's what I am. But, at the same time, I'm not going to front and be like, no, I can't hang with them. Because, I really, I felt like sometimes I can. But it's a challenge. It's a great challenge. So on my own album, I was like, I'm not trying to hang with nobody. I just want to make music that feels good, that people are going to be able to listen to in the car and enjoy. I wasn't really stunting the whole, multi-syllable rhyme schemes and how many times I say Jesus and how many times I say this and all. I just did not care, dog.
Yo, I hear artists say this all the time. It almost feels like there's a real pressure that a lot of y'all feel that you literally have to have a certain amount of the word Jesus literally in some of your songs. Like where does that come from though? Like who says that?
Well, I don't think I don't think there's like a coalition of people who say that there's a certain number. You didn't meet your Jesus quota.
The Jesus board
for the album. But I will say, from a fan perspective, being a fan, I remember having a perspective in the past because of being exposed to certain Christian hip hop that I was like, man, if you don't talk about Jesus in your rap, it's not real. It's not real Christian. It's not like you're not doing it for the Lord. And so, over time, that perspective kind of evolved and came to accept more open, just kind of different styles and really appreciating other dudes' stuff. And so when it comes to my own music, I honestly, the whole Christian rapper debate, I really don't have very much to say or care very much about it. For me, it's more like, I do want the Christian people who really enjoy my stuff to feel comfortable with the content, but at the same time, I'm not going to filter that just so your kids can listen to my music. That's one of the things where stuff like Promised Land comes into play, where it's not necessarily like the most friendly song to listen to. I don't necessarily talk about Jesus overtly, but at the same time, it is a gospel-centric song. And so I feel like ATLast, though, is an incredibly Christian album. And as I've said in the interview with you before, and a lot of people have come to know me for saying this, is like Jesus will never be a burden to my music. Like, he's going to be in it and he's not going to be in it. But ultimately, Jesus has saved me. And so when I do music, it's always going to reflect the perspective of someone who has been saved from death by Jesus. And so whether or not I'm saying his name and doing anthems for him, or I'm just doing songs about how much I love my wife, all of that comes from a heart that has been changed by Jesus. So, it is what it is. I don't really feel the need, and I think a lot of people do, because there are certain types of fans and certain types of other artists that we are in circles with who are like, you have to say this, So I agree and don't agree.
Yeah.
It's an intricate subject.
Did you grow up going to church? Like, were you one of those youth group kids that, like, you got exposed to Christian hip hop early on?
So yes and no. I think a little bit of my story has been kind of told in the ATLast stuff, promos, and maybe a little bit with you. My parents were divorced when I was young and got remarried, and so I grew up with non-saved parents a little bit for a while, and then saved parents, and then even after that, my I don't really think they kind of knew the Christian ropes, because I don't think neither one of them really grew up in church, like church. So yes and no. I started going to youth group when I was a teenager, but I went to church in Georgia, so youth group isn't typical. I don't know. I guess it is. I mean, it's Bible Belt stuff, but I did get exposed to Christian hip hop around the age of 15, 16. But I never really liked it very much. So
a lot of people say that when they first hear it. Was it the music itself? Was it the message, or was it a combination of both?
Well, I'm from the South, so the music, nobody was doing Southern rap at all. I remember the first time I heard Flame and Lecrae, I was mad excited about it, because I was like, dog, these dudes are awesome. They do not suck like this other stuff. I don't know what kind of beats these dudes are picking, but this is not tight. Yeah. I'm serious. So those dudes kind of brought new life into the perspective for me. I was like, man, this is great. I still didn't really rock with the message like that until I was a Christian. And even after I was a Christian, I think Flame became like my favorite Christian rapper for a long time. But it was one of those things where I was not feeling it, because there's a lot of West Coast Christian rap. Not a big fan of West Coast music. A lot of East Coast, up north, New York, Philly stuff. at the time, I hated that stuff. Now, man, that's really all I listen to these days. But, you know, I was not feeling it. That's for sure.
Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy, bro. So what turned the light bulb on for you?
You talking about to enjoying?
No, not just the music, but just like actually becoming a Christian.
Yeah. So I had a couple people, a couple different instances where the gospel had been shared with me. I think I was like 17, 18, and this I'm pretty sure this age changes with every interview because I honestly don't know. I don't have a date for the Alex hit his knees and accepted Jesus, but around that time of, you know, later high school years, I really felt like, you know, just kind of pulling on my heart. I didn't like getting in trouble. Folks around me was getting in trouble. I hadn't really talked to my sister in years. Me and my little brother was kind of growing distant. And so I was just kind of by myself. So I finished high school early, moved up my mom's house, and started working a regular job. I was working in a factory. And one of the dudes that got me the job, worked with me, was a really devout Christian, good dude, you know, doing really well for himself, and just kind of walked with me through a lot of stuff. And, you know, my father had always taught me the right thing to do in the gospel as a child. So ultimately, man, through those circumstances, I do feel like in a couple recorded sermons that I saw on YouTube and the internet, like the Lord really changed me through all of that stuff. And so it took me a while. There's a song on the album called Letting Me Go. I think it's Letting Me Go, where I kind of detailed the story a little bit better.
Yep.
But yeah, you know, there was some backslidden days and some days before here in the last maybe 4 years ago when I kind of, you know, got, you know, disconnected from a local body. And, you know, when I got reconnected with the local church and kind of saw the value of the local church, I think that's when it all clicked. Community, you know, obviously being saved, but then community being the way that God would help me maintain my walk with Him.
Yep.
And so that's when it all clicked. I was probably about 18, going through all of that different stuff.
Yeah, I asked that because, like, we've been playing "Letting Me Go" a lot on the show. Like, it's been on the top 10 countdown. I think probably like the last 3 weeks or so. You know,
Dope. Dope.
Just, you know, I just wanted people to kind of hear you articulate, you know, that story in a little bit more detail, man. But that's good, bro. That's really good, man. How did you get Trip Lee on your album, man? It's like that brother's been. What you read? You ran up to DC, threw him in the studio, and said, "Yo, I need this verse, son."
No. Ask everybody's first question when they hear that album. Nobody cares about nobody else in that joint. They just would go, "Yo, I thought he quit." So I was in the studio with Wit. Obviously, we were producing the album. So I spent one of the processes in creating the album was you know, I locked myself in the studio with, I think, for a total of 30 days, and we made the whole album.
Wow.
Wrote that mug, produced it, recorded. We had no beats going. Well, we had like one beat going in from another producer that I really was liking, which ended up being City of Nightmares. But we had no beats. We ain't have no lyrics. We ain't have no mixing, nothing. So 30 days, front to back. That's literally what it was. No exaggeration. We ain't have nothing. I had cats at the.
So did you come up to Delaware? Or did he come down to you?
Nah, I went to Delaware. I stayed with him and his wife for.
Wow,
I saw my wife.
You was in
twice.
the Wit dungeon.
Yes, sir. I love that place, man. It's like one of my favorite places in the world right now.
Yeah,
I miss it. But it was struggle life for real. There was a lot of crazy things happening and foolishness and just missing home and stuff like that. So. Anyways, this fool Wit was sitting there, and that beat came about because I kept telling him, and Wes was over there a lot, and I was talking to Swoop on the phone, and I had a couple dudes from South Florida. Suede,
and this is West P for the people listening.
Yeah, West Pendleton. Suede and Kardec are both Florida dudes, and so they got that kind of down south trappy sound, which I was kind of digging, but I wanted to add collision flavor, like that high musicality to the down south stuff. And so this dude Wit is just sitting there. Me and him and Wes had just finished making the beat for Bloodlines, which was another single that came out. That was the first song that we made for the whole album. I sat there and wrote the verse while they was making it, laid it down. Like, we did that whole track in like 2 hours.
Wow.
First song from the album. So we was mad encouraged the first day. So Wit's playing around, goofing off on the keyboard, and you get this bow, 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 bow. Bow, wow, 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 and he's just playing. So funny thing is, his computer was having some issues, and he couldn't get his MIDI files to show up for his keyboard. So we was having to use this analog keyboard that he has called a Virus. Got a ton of sounds. The mug is just mad hard to use, and you can't, like, it comes in as a waveform, so it's not MIDI files. You can't, like, fix it if you miss a note. You just got to play it till you get it right.
I got you.
So we made that whole beat using analog sounds. One of the reasons why it sounds so cool is because it's not MIDI. Wit had to play everything on beat and get it all lined up right. And then the MIDI, it's like the Virus itself is like a really expensive piece of equipment. So it's just really unique sounding. And I was like, that is dope. And that is definitely, like, you know, that's some Southern swang. Like, that's some Houston music. Like, let's do something with that. So we started building it up. We left it alone. I came back downstairs. I was goofing around singing and ended up liking it. Told Wit to record me, and he was like, this is crazy. So that was one of the ones where we looked at each other and was like, we need to have somebody from Texas on this. And so I hit up Trip, and he was actually on vacation. I've known Trip for a while, not super like I know him, that's my dog, but I mean, I know him, we know each other, we've seen each other around, and I've always really enjoyed him. I think he's definitely an encouragement for young dudes like me. Trying to make. I mean, one thing people know about Triple E is that brother's mad young, but he's mad mature. And, and he loves Jesus a lot. So, so I was like, man, Texas Trip has always been my favorite Reach artist. No diss to none of the other cats, but 2020 is probably my favorite album that they've ever put out. So I was like, this is exciting. He was on vacation with his wife, and he wasn't going to be able to make the deadline. So that was, scramble mode. Who we going to get on this? So it got down. That was at the beginning of the process. And so about 2 weeks later, me and Wit are sitting in the studio, and, we still don't got nobody to be on Light Up. And it's Unashamed conference weekend. Trip texts me while he's at the Unashamed conference, performing, all that stuff. Says, hey, man, you still need a verse from me. I was like, well, if you got time, I need it by, like, tomorrow night. And he says, I tell you what, if I like it, I'll do it. And I sent it to him, and he was like, this is crazy. And all I sent him was the beat. And so he was like, this is, really dope. So sure enough, that brother, so here's the craziness is I was mastering the album on Monday. Me and Whit were going to meet with a guy named Pete Humphreys in Philly to master the record. And so Monday morning we were leaving at 8 a.m. It was Sunday night at like 2 a.m. when Trip turned the verse in. So we literally got that verse 6 hours before we went to master. That song, I was finna put another verse on it, and it was just gonna be a solo song. So that's the long and short. But yeah, man, Trip. I don't think I hope he's not done. You know what I'm saying? Because I think he killed that verse, man. That was some nostalgia for me, just hearing him rap like that. He's been doing a lot of string hip hop, high musical stuff. So I was glad to hear him on something, really, really self. So it's tight.
Yeah, my opinion, man, I think he's gonna come back making music at some point. I think he's just in a season right now, man, where he's really. He wants to be a pastor, dog, and I think that's his main heart. But I mean, I think he's too good to not rap, and I think his voice is too important, in this community, man, for him to not keep doing the music, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope he comes back. I really enjoy that dude's music, and I enjoy him as a person. He's got a great family and just a good dude in general, man. Like. dog, he's just a really good dude. So I was excited to have him on the record. Like,
Yeah.
dog, I can't explain to you how excited I was doing music with somebody. You know what I'm saying? I've been listening to him for years, even longer than I've known him. So it was like, this is tight. I'm really happy about this.
Yeah, those are special moments when that happens in this game, man. You know.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Like people don't. I shouldn't say people because I don't want to be all deflectory, but I guess my thing is like, man, like I got to do songs with dudes on this album that I was fans of, and I don't think cats are mad excited and Alex is doing this, but the reality is, man, I'm as excited about some of these songs with these dudes on them as people who were excited about the album are. So I mean, some of these, I've been listening to some of these dudes for years. Yeah. So I'm just geeked, bro.
Yeah, that's good, man. Do you think we'll get another We Live as Kings album at some point? Like I know all y'all are doing like the solo thing, and from what I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I heard, it was this was going into it. It was almost like, let's do this one time, boom, 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 jump everything off. But then it's like, I mean, that was like a great record, like a big record, a great record. Like, do y'all think y'all would do another one?
I think it makes sense for us to do another one. I can't divulge any information, but I think
of course, man, y'all always keep it locked up, man. I know, man. AT keeps everything locked up in the vault.
It's the boss right there. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to cross that dude. So we like the idea of doing another one. I'll put it to you like that, but don't necessarily. I mean, we still got Swoop and Chris got to do albums. My album's not even out, so we got some time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Before we even think about it for real. So
I feel you. I feel like it didn't hurt to ask because I know the fans want to know.
No, I know. I'm not mad at you, bro.
Yeah, fans definitely want to know, man. So what's next for Alex Faith, man? You got the album coming out. Are you thinking about doing like a concert series or a tour of some sort, or being a part of somebody's tour? What are you looking at as far as that?
Well, I mean, that's a little easier said than done.
Sure.
But I am trying to get some stuff going out here in Texas. I want to do some Houston shows and some Austin and Dallas shows, and seeing how it does, and if it does well here locally, and I can do some cool stuff out here. And I'm thinking about taking it out to West Coast and Florida, doing some runs over there where multiple cities, like I can hit San Diego, L.A., maybe Las Vegas, and then Orlando and Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, just hitting different cities in states that I can, fly out and then drive to them boys.
Yeah.
But I'm still figuring it out. This is like a thing that I'm trying to put together right now, and if the Lord wills, then I'll maybe hop on somebody's tour. But I'm not as seasoned a performer as I'd like to be, and so I'm trying to get in front of as many people as I can right now. Just grinding, bro. But I am trying to do some stuff, and so
Yo, you mentioned Vegas. That feels like such an untapped Christian hip hop market to me. Like I never hear about shows and stuff. Like obviously now you got a couple artists from there, but I never hear about dudes doing concerts or tours or any of that in Vegas.
Well, I mean, I know Jay Givens. I got to spend some time with him. Jay Givens is just a really dope rapper.
He's ridiculous. Person. That's what I'm saying. Like you got him out there, but I never hear anything else out there.
Yeah, so I mean, with him, no, he's also got his boy. His boy is named Quan.
Yep.
And Quan does like website promotions, interviews, things like that. And so I think between him and Quan, and him knowing other local artists, maybe we could set some stuff up, because I think Kid is from out there and everything like that.
Yeah,
too.
He is.
So, I would love to, holler at them and set something up, but I'm just thinking out loud. So I obviously haven't had any conversations with him about it. So I don't want to assume, but like Jay Givens does shows in Las Vegas. And so I'd like to do something in Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure that 0 people know me or care who I am in Las Vegas, but you do a show and out there, then people start caring. So I want to go and get in front of the Las Vegas people. So.
That's good, man. That's good, man. Well, Alex Faith, new album. November the 5th. It's called ATLast. Make sure you cop it. Make sure you support it. I love how y'all have websites for all your albums, man. I think that's really dope.
Yeah, I've been very happy with the branding and direction from ATLast and Gold Rush and all that good stuff. So I'm digging the album websites, if for anything other than they kind of give more brand than a album cover does. You know what I mean? People get to see like consistent, sleek design that lends to the album outside of just the cover, and so I'm really digging that a lot.
Yeah. That's definitely one of AT's strong suits, man. The brother's smart dude, man. Well, A-Faith, man, appreciate you, brother. Again, man, I hope everybody goes out and supports your record November 5th. You dropping the same week as Lecrae.
Yep.
I mean, it's the elephant in the room, you know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
You know, I hope everybody go support you, man. I think you got a good record. Like I said, I was listening to the stream yesterday and I dug it, bro. So I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you, man. I'm grateful to still be doing music a year later.
That's it. Absolutely, bro.
Everybody lends an ear. I want to thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all on the W.L.A.K radio show.
Thanks for tuning in to another W.L.A.K Radio full interview. This was made possible in part by our affiliate, Covenant Eyes. The internet can be a dangerous place for unguarded eyes and hearts. Covenant Eyes provides the services that protect against the evils and temptations that can be found on the World Wide Web. Established over a decade ago, Covenant Eyes is the pioneer in internet accountability software, empowering its members to maintain their online integrity. I personally use them on every device that I have: computer, iPhone, iPad, whole 9 yards. Don't go another day without guarding your eyes, your mind, and your heart. Visit WadeORadio.com/resources for more information about Covenant Eyes. And if you sign up via our affiliate link at WadeORadio.com/resources, we'll give you a month free. Covenant Eyes, trusted by thousands of families, including mine.